Hello and welcome, folks. I think the sound is all on, and here we are. This is my name here is Michael McLeod, and I am your broadcaster commentator tonight for the Global Racing League MX5 Cup Challenge. Joined with me here in the broadcaster booth is none other than Dan McFarlane once again.
Hello, hello. Really excited to be here again. Thank you so much for inviting me back. I had such a good time last week at VIR, and I'm really excited to be here again at Okayama. Looks like we are in the rain tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like a very wet race. We have our endurance race format, so it's going to be two pit stops. It looks like it's clearing up. It looks like the rain is actually getting a little bit lighter. What are your initial thoughts of this racetrack, and this general format that we've got going on for the night?
I think it's going to be really tricky tonight, honestly, Michael. It's Okayama is a lot of flat turns here, a lot of places to lose the car, especially with a wet track. So I think our drivers are really going to have to be very cautious with their inputs, especially on the throttle here, because this rear end of the MX5 just wants to come around on you. But looking on the radar here, looks like this rain may be on its way out very soon. Unfortunately, it's going to be a rain effect qualifying, so uh, right now we're riding along with Parvinder Ladar, trying his best to keep the car on the track through this qualifying session. The car looks pretty smooth through here. But hopefully it will not stay this way. We'll see some changing conditions as the race goes on.
Yeah, Harvinder joining us from the country of Brunei. Brunei, I believe I'm saying that correctly. Right near Malaysia. Very small country, actually.
Wow, it's incredible. I mean, truly, this is the Global Racing League, so uh, Parvinder definitely an example of just how far the global reach of the series makes it.
And the other person who is from Brunei as well here is Chris Lim. He's both of them really. He's racing, and I think it's 8 or 9 in the morning for where he is located in the world. So you know what? Forget the morning coffee. Get into that sim racing rig, start it up, go for a race, and that's gonna get you going for the rest of the day. Forget the coffee.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd almost say he has an advantage here. I know normally this race occurs at night for us North Americans, but I have to say I think racing in the morning might offer a little bit of an advantage here. Maybe some quicker reaction times, a little bit a little bit more flexibility on those inputs. But we'll have to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? With that said, we're going to take a look right now at Andres Navarro, who is the leader of our season championship in points currently. And so with that said, let's hear it from you. Who are the top 3 pro and the top 3 amateur drivers?
All right. So as you mentioned, Andres Navarro in the lead of the championship right now with 391 championship points over Franco Aguirre, who's 30 points behind with 361. Uh, Chasing them is Tom Peters, who's another 53 points back with 338 points. So pretty close with 60 points on offer for a win. It's still anybody's game. It's getting late in the season. I do like Andres' position, but still a lot of points to play for.
So there's
Uh,
2 races left. And
there,
honestly, anything can still happen because if any of these drivers take away a win, ooh, that is gonna. I don't. You know what? That maybe that's the wet line.
hmm, the wet line can change every lap here, and looks like the rain looks like it might starting to let up here. But we'll have to see. Like I said, these will be changing conditions. But moving down to our amateur championship, we do have Mark Sherman here. He's currently in the lead of the AM championship with Anthony Farmer close on his tail and Thomas McLeod behind them for the top 3. Um, Looking like, particularly Andres,
So you say
couple of good
Mark
drops.
Sherman.
Yeah, Mark Sherman is leading the AM championship right now. Looks like
Okay.
he is in the session. So
Yeah, there
more
is Mark
points on the board
Sherman.
for him.
Anthony Farmer is here as well. We've definitely noticed. Okay, so Anthony Farmer, I don't think he's on track right now. His qualifying may be over. I think everyone's qualifying is over. Yeah, I'll be honest. If I was out here, I would be on the struggle bus. I don't know about you. Like, this is absolutely tough conditions. This
Yeah.
car, it any car in the wet, good luck. And that is going to be the challenge for every one of our drivers out here tonight at the Okayama track. So we are going to be running our endurance format. I want to go to the cars on the grid. Let's pull away this timing tower so we can see all of the cars. Track map, do you want a track? Nah. That middle sector between those two dots in the very middle, I think that's where most people are going to be struggling with the wet, the puddling of the track. That's where it's going to be definitely collecting a lot through those corners, a lot of low spots. And so really curious to see if the first lap, second lap, third lap, and so on, if anyone spins from that. What do
Good
you
luck,
think?
everyone. For the
Yeah,
new
I think
guys,
there's going to be
where
a
there's
pretty
two
big
men.
possibility that we'll see some people spinning today. Especially, I'm thinking down at that, I believe the turn 5 hairpin it is, turn 5 or turn 6, just that camber. If you take that apex when it's wet, you're in for a bad time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So here we go. It looks like everyone is getting ready to race. All the windshield wipers are wiping as fast as they bloody well can. And look at those things go. Who is that car?
These
His wheels turned all the way to the right. I don't think that's going to be a good time unless he gets that fixed real quick. Who is that? I think that is. Ooh, who is that? That's Anaf. He is looking all the way to the right. Ooh, I I don't know. What do you think?
Oh no, I've had this happen to me before, Michael. It's not good, and you don't even know what's happening. Unfortunately, we can't tell him anything from up here in the broadcast booth. He'll just have to learn on his own.
Luckily, this car doesn't start too fast. It's only about 200 horsepower. Here we go. It looks like every single car has hit the grid. We are about to get started. The lights are up in the middle of your screen. All the lights are up.
Green.
And away we go. And there goes Anaf all the way to the right. He figured it out real quick. Luckily, able to pull it back. And we are heading into turn 1 with a wet track. It's anybody's guess how this is going to happen, how this is going to work for the very first corner. Everyone is taking it easy. It looks like Tom Peters up at the very front has gone off into the sand. He wanted to take a little bit of a beach vacation. He's now to the very back of the grid. That is going to hurt his chances in the long run in that championship run.
Everybody playing really nice right now. Looks like we're getting the front two stretching a little bit of a gap over the rest of the field. Running line of stern with these beautiful anime girl liveries, I suppose. But that's a great livery nonetheless.
Well, that's totally your thing, no?
Hey, we'll have to leave that for the broadcast after dark for any other revelations there. But let's get back to the racing at hand as they come down to the tight hairpin for the first time. Is everybody going to make it through nicely?
Here we go into the braking zone for the very first time. This is the place on the track that we said it would be very high risk. And it looks like everyone's actually behaving rather well through all of that. A little bit of stuttering, it looks like. I don't know if that's just me on my end or not. And someone is going into the barrier. Is he going to be...
That's Blake Carvery. I think he just put a couple wheels on that very, very slippery curbing there. And unfortunately, that's what happens when it's wet.
There is Chris Lim. He is down 2 positions. Vlad Sanchez able to take advantage of a little bit of a missed braking point, it looks like, on that lap 1, and has been able to get himself ahead of Chris Lim. So Vlad Sanchez is where he started. It looks like Chris Lim is down 2 spots at the very front. Trevor Houston and Brian Kieran. I would have to say that these guys are teammates. What do you say? Frank O'Gara in 3rd position. He's up 2 spots. he is the one that's challenging Andres Navarro way back, actually, at this point in time for that championship overall in the season. So Andres has a long way to go, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, and well, he's not too far back there, sitting in P6 right now. It's just going to be key. Just at this first stage of the race, let's just keep it on the track as he's taking a look up the inside of Chris there, thinking better of it. This rain should be heading out here any minute now. It looks like the radar is telling us just another couple more minutes of rain, and we're going to start to see some drying conditions and some changeable conditions. I'm sure all these guys are on wet tires right now, so with this endurance format, I think it'll be really interesting. Will anybody make the gamble and go to slicks early, or will this be an entirely wet race? What are your thoughts, Michael?
I actually think that people are in the very last pit stop are going to be taking that chance and going for the slick tires. That's my personal prediction. From what I can see on the weather radar, I think that people are really going to take that chance. Oh, and Tom Peters, he is really letting that rear end out to hang out to dry. Pardon my, pardon the pun. No, yeah.
Ah, yeah,
No.
I was about to say. It looks like Tom Peters and the Sour Patch car is really puckering right now, trying to keep it on track.
You kill me. Absolutely kill me. Yeah, with the 2 pit stop strategy, it's going to be really interesting to see who takes that gamble. It looks like a little bit of and what something has happened to Anaf Shariar. He has gone off the track. Let's take a quick look exactly how that one happened. I think now is a safe time to go into a replay and take a look at how did he go off of the track. Just maybe a little bit too much curb, and away he goes.
That's disappointing. That's certainly not what he wanted there. But that just goes to show you sometimes taking those apexes, taking that curbing especially, can be so slick in the wet. It's really gotta adjust your line through there. Hopefully we'll see him back out on track soon though.
But that actually leads me into the question I've got for you. How much experience do you have in the wet, driving, racing, and so on here? Not specifically this track, but just in general. I actually don't have a lot of wet racing experience, and so I'm going to be leaning into you for that, hopefully. So what?
Yeah, I'll say I wouldn't call myself a wet expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I did compete in the 12 Hours at Sebring this year. We did LMP2 and had a couple of very wet stretches in that race, and just driving the car, especially in endurance conditions, you realize that the race has completely changed. You may be the fastest guy in the dry, but you're not going to be the fastest guy in the wet. I can almost guarantee it. So it's just a lot of it is mental. We get so used to, especially with iRacing, years and years of driving in the dry, and now when it's wet, the racetrack changes, and it's always changing. I think iRacing has done a fantastic job with their wet weather model, and it's really just you got to be prepared to change it up where you're driving. As we take a ride along with Ryan Luna, who's looks like he's gone off in the gravel there, but no harm, no foul, gets it going again. Let's see what happened to Ryan. Ooh. Pretty close to what happened to Anaf there. Just got a little bit on that. There's a big puddle. It's kind of hard to see from our angle, but there's a big puddle right at the apex there. Once your car goes through that, you are just hydroplaning. You are along for the ride, and if you're lucky, your tires come back down on the track, and you can get control of it. And that's what it looked like. That's what happened to Ryan there. But good thing he was able to gather it up, keeping his car from getting any major damage to it.
So here is Anaf. Anaf is the car number 1, 2, 3. So he's going to be letting Franco Aguirre, who's in 3rd place in the race overall, to pass, because Anaf does have that blue flag. So he has successfully served that blue flag, allowing Franco through to be able to challenge for the win of the race. Between currently at the very front is Trevor Houston and Brian Curran. And Wait, just a second. Was Trevor Houston leading this race the whole time, or wasn't it Brian Kieran?
I believe Trevor had a really good start. They've been running line astern this whole time, so I wouldn't be surprised if Brian is just biding his time behind his teammate right now.
I have the
playing the long game.
I have the notification right here. Trevor Houston passed Brian Kieran, and here is exactly how he did it right here, coming out of turn 1 into turn 2. It looks like he's going to go around the outside. A lot of puddles for Brian on the inside line, and that is exactly... There you go.
Yeah.
That is exactly the moment. That is exactly the moment that Trevor Houston made the pass on Brian Kieran for the lead of the race. They are quite far ahead when you say of the next few drivers.
I just saw their lap times there. 56s from the front two, followed by 58 from Franco and 58 from Vlad. A lot of the other cars seem to be at the 58. So interesting to see what are the team cars doing that maybe not everybody else knows.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious of that as well. There's Blake Carvery, so he did tap that barrier earlier on, but his car looks perfectly okay to continue on.
Oh yeah, these Mazda Miatas are tough old girls, so they can take a wall or two. They'll be all right. It
absolutely.
Looks like Vlad is under attack from Chris here, taking a defensive line. Smart move. Don't want to give the inside up, especially for this hairpin here. Too wide into here. Vlad's gonna keep it tight on the apex. Oh, still too wide.
It looks like Chris Lim is able to break on through the outside line. I would actually take the outside line if that was me, but you know what? These guys are not giving up. Vlad wants that position so bad, and that's actually bringing Andres Navarre into this battle. What is going to happen? Late braking from Chris Lim. He does not want to give up that spot. He wants to gain a spot and not give up any. He's down 2. He's not wanting to be down 3. He's trying to reverse his results currently. Yeah, this is intense.
Some excellent driving from Vlad here. That pass around the outside, I love to see it. It definitely shows that Vlad knows these conditions. He knows this racing line. He knows the limits of his car. So really great to see him. As it looks like Chris is now under attack from Andres, who's going to take a little look, not quite close enough, as again Chris late on the brakes in the turn 1, trying to get inside of Vlad's head, albeit. This is going to be a great battle. I'm sure we're going to be watching this for most of the race here.
For quite some time, am I right? Andres Navarre is closer than ever. Does he try to poke his nose? Are those windshield wipers blowing off enough water that he can actually see where he's going? It's anybody's guess. Here he goes, he's up the inside.
Little deep from Chris there. It's going to allow Andres to get alongside. He's almost fully, it looks like he is fully clear, but he's not out of the woods yet, as Chris will now try to take that inside line, see what he can do with it coming into the hairpin. And the whole time that this is happening, look at that gap to Vlad. It's getting it's getting bigger and bigger the more that these guys fight. It looks like Andres has completed that pass, though.
Yeah,
Andres is going to be hungry.
Chris definitely did try to go up that inside. It just did not work out in the end. He was not able to get that spot back. He is really losing some spots out here. So is that getting in his head? You know, you gotta think, you've been in these spots before. I know I have, where you are just really not where you started in your qualifying, and it starts to get in your head, and you have to get yourself in check. Think, what am I going to do? And there goes Andres Navarre for his very first pit stop. You have to get yourself in check and think, like, what is my plan here? You know, you can't just be balls to the wall and just all out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and believe me, it can be very frustrating, especially when you're not running where you thought you'd be. You get a little impatient behind others, and in my experience, that leads to mistakes. So, best thing you can do if you're Chris right now, just take a deep breath. You know, we got 38 more minutes left in this race. Plenty of time to claw your way back up especially as the track starts to dry out now. Important thing to know for these competitors around him is just you can definitely see it in the car body language, I would say, from Chris's car. Really deep on the brakes in every turn, super defensive, super aggressive as well. I think that's all the makings of somebody who's going to continue to make more mistakes if they're not keeping their head down. So I bet some other guys behind them will be, keeping a close eye on that car.
Absolutely. So Christian Rojas, just taking a look at him, he is up 8 positions so far.
Wow.
That is incredible. Let's just take a look at a few of his passes. I got Christian Rojas pass on. Here we go. This is on Parvinder, so this is the very beginning. So that is how he got by at the very start. Bravery.
There we go. Getting by Parvinder. Looks like he's looking inside of Blake Carberry here, and thinking better of it.
And another pass that he's made. Okay, so then I think this one was an easy one. Yeah, okay, so that was... Okay, back to live. There's a few easy passes, of course, from people spinning out and such, and you do definitely expect that because this is a wet race. And no person is going to be perfect out there. I really doubt it. As we can even see at the very front of this field, between Brian and Trevor, you know, Brian made a tiny bit of a mistake, and that allowed for Trevor to get right on by and take the lead of the race. These guys are just in a world of their own. They are on a different planet. If you look how far ahead they are. There is Franco. He is in P3. That is an 8-second time gap between these drivers. But you know what? With this water on the track, it's anybody's guess how this is actually going to end. And I'd almost have to guess. Here we go. Too wide into the corner at the end of the back straight. Is this turn 5, turn 6? Wow, look at this. Here we go. Brian Curran is now taking the lead of the race back from Trevor Houston. Here we go.
That was a nice little over-under there.
Was good that move. Ever?
I've been keeping my eye on the lap times, Michael, and it does look like they're starting to come down. 55.7 was the purple lap time last time by, and I expect we're going to keep seeing purple for a while, and it's not just the lead cars.
Here we go. Let's just take a look at that pass once again. How did this get finalized? There is Brian Curran up the inside.
It's pretty textbook by Brian there, just putting his nose where it needed to be, not forcing the move. Kudos to Trevor, not doing anything silly when defending. But does seem to me like he left the door open, so maybe some team game happening there. As Trevor's drifting through turn 1, and now he's fallen back to almost over a second behind Brian. Brian might just have the pace here.
There goes Christian Rojas up even more positions. How in the world is this happening? Chris Lim is down even more spots. He's lost his spot to Tom Peters and Christian. How? I gotta take a look. How did that happen? Let's just take a quick look. Here is Christian Rojas passing Chris Lim. So it looks like Chris Lim, a little bit of a mistake. And then there you go.
That's all it takes. You got to be so precise with your inputs here. Just sliding that rear, that's really going to cost you big time down that front straight.
So here you go. This is Franco Aguirre. He is in third position, a little bit further back. You got Vlad Sanchez, then Christian Rojas. He's really not even that far back. From starting at the rear, he has gained a lot of spots, doing wonderful things. There is Jimmy Mooney. How would you say the Mooney? Mooney?
Mooney?
Mooney?
Yeah. Mooney?
Is that a South
Mooney?
African
Yeah.
flag?
I believe it is. Wow.
It's
we got that's gonna bring what is that, 4 continents represented right now? That's great.
We are the Global Racing League. What can you say?
Yeah, living up to your guys' name, of course.
Andres Navarre, after his pit stop, he is quite far behind the pack. But you know what? He has one single pit stop, and all these drivers ahead of him do not. So where is he going to end up after everyone's done their very first pit stop? I'm really, really curious to see, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on his lap time since we saw a 54.0 from Brian. That's over a second and a half quicker than Trevor that time by. Let's see where Andres will filter out, though. He has a nice gap to the car ahead, so maybe he's thinking a little strategically here. I'll pit early, and then maybe that'll open the window nicely for me to take some dry tires later on.
I see a notification. Jonathan Rodriguez went off the track. I think he might have crashed. Let's just take a quick peek and see what happened. That's confusing.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Jonathan. Must have had a meatball there.
Meatball, something. Okay, come on. Come on, logo, get out of the way. No, I want live. Thank you. There we go. At the very front, I'm actually quite surprised. Brian Kieran has a 2.5 second gap to Trevor Houston. What is happening? Trevor had him in his sights, and now look at this. This is Brian absolutely running away with this.
Like I said, Brian is putting through some of the fastest laps in the race right now. Just real head down, focused drive from him right now.
And there you go. You were curious. I'm sure everyone's curious. Anyone who's watching, you were mentioning fastest laps. What is everyone's fastest lap? There is Brian Kieran. He is in the pits right there.
They're in the pits.
There we go. There is everyone's fastest lap right now. There's Franco Aguirre. He is coming into the pits as well. Wow. So here we go. Come on, Blimp Cam. Really? Is that all you can do for me? Here we go. Here's everyone coming into the pits. I don't think anyone's going to be able to go beyond this lap. 20 minutes in. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a busy place to be on pit lane right now.
There we go. So Brian Kieran, hopefully nobody's going to be getting any speeding tickets in the pit lane.
And Franco's going for tires.
Franco's going for tires. Is he changing his wet tires? Is he changing to slicks?
Is he changing to slicks? That's
brave.
A bold move. Chris Lim also looking like he's changing his tires. I wonder if they're making the gamble. If it, this is one of those situations. If this pays off, you look like a genius. But if not, I won't share the alternative. But it's not very good. Hopefully they'll be able to keep their cars on track. I do think it's a little too wet out there. It's, still stoking, but...
There's a lot of people taking tires. Look at this. There is Ryan Luna taking tires. Parvinder is taking tires. Looks like Anthony Farmer is taking tires. Jimmy is taking tires. There's a lot of people taking tires. We're going to pull away from that pit stop area now, just to see where is everyone after that pit stop. Here's Brian Kern, who is the leader of the race, heading into that hairpin at the end of the very long back straight. He's about 3.8 seconds behind Franco Aguirre. So, and did Franco take tires?
I believe Franco took tires, and it looked like as soon as he got on the power, he was getting a little squirrely there. Oh, what a shame for him, though. That's the gamble. Looks like we're following along with Andres Navarro, who's now P3, only 7.5 seconds back from the lead.
Wait, this is the wrong... Wait, this is the wrong... Come on! Here we go. Here's what I'm looking for. Here is Franco Aguirre. He has, I think, slick tires here.
Yeah, they just... It's a tall order, especially when the track is this wet. The slightest mix-up, and that's what's going to happen. Very little downforce on these cars, so you're really, really depending on these tires to work wonders for you. And unfortunately, it was a bold move. I respect the call, but unfortunately, I don't think it was the right call.
No, absolutely not. I think there's still way too much water. We do have 2 pit stops in this race, and I think the second pit stop, you really could have taken those dry tires. You can see actually on our timing tower, we have who has the wet tires and who has the dry. Where Parvinder, let's take a look at, oh, and Parvinder is not having a good time, I don't think, out there. He, he is he's the lead car of drivers that is on that dry tire. You know what? Did it pay off? I don't think so.
Oh man, as we see another couple cars, we have Tom Peters and is that our hero Christian Rojas? Oh, what a shame for him. Hopefully we won't lose out too much there, but I do have to point out, unfortunately, Michael, it looks like everybody who's taken dry tires is now taken
They're just
either
at the
a spin
bottom.
or an extra trip through the pit lane. Yeah, we can see they're all at the bottom here. I think it was unfortunately maybe a case of monkey see, monkey do. Not the right call in these conditions.
Absolutely not.
Still
And
the way to go.
that little bit of a mistake between Tom Peters and Christian Rojas has left him open to have Chris Lim make a pass and take back P4. So here we go. And you know what? Let's take a quick look. How did that one happen? How did that one start? Come on. Here we go.
Yeah, well, I think it happened here where Tom Peters just getting a little out of shape. And I was gonna say Christian Rojas did a great job of trying to avoid him. Unfortunately, you can't avoid them all, and got caught up in it. Hopefully, he doesn't have a lot of damage. Keep it going. As Tom is now finding himself a few tenths behind Chris on the back foot.
Yeah, and I'm going to just take a look at some of these guys who are on the dry tires. So Parvinder is on that dry tire. He is really on the struggle bus. Anaf is another partaker in the dry tire experiment, and I really don't think it's working out for him. But he's not too far behind. I don't think he's that far behind Blake, is he? No, he's a lap down off of Blake. Franco Aguirre was a dry tire taker, and he is out. Basically, anyone who took that dry tire, it looks like they are just out.
Chaos, total chaos. I love it, but unfortunately for all those, Franco had a great run going. Jimmy Mooney also had a great run going. And it just goes to show you, sometimes the gamble pays off, sometimes it doesn't. As we see, it looks like the gap between Brian and Trevor has started to come down a bit. I'm a little curious what's going on here.
Yeah, me too. I also have a notification. Ryan Luna has crashed. Let's just take a quick look. How did this one happen? I think we've seen this one before.
Yeah. And he keeps it out of the wall. Great job.
Keeping out of the wall, you know what? That's a huge plus. You can back it up, and yeah, we are racing here, but like, come on, this is a very wet track, and getting it to the end, and that is a tall challenge, task all on its own now.
Yeah, I mean, keeping it out of the wall, that's a great way to keep a 10-second problem from turning into a 10-minute problem, as I like to say. Keep that car clean and out of the wall. Curiously, looks like Brian's weaving down the straight there. Maybe he's trying to keep some heat in those wet tires, or maybe the track is really starting to dry out now. He's trying to search for that wet line.
Yeah, we have 26 minutes into this race. You can really see the sun is out. Oh, it looks like Brian. He's just drifting that car, and he's trying to put the power down. These wet tires, it seems like Trevor Houston, I think, is going to be able to take advantage of the that drift onto the long back straight. He's trying. Oh, you can see he's trying to cool his tires.
Yeah, he's. I think he might have cooked these tires. Even though it's still definitely wet tire time out there, as this track transforms, as this dry line gets even more dry, these tires will get hotter and hotter with each lap, and it will be crucial for the drivers to manage the tire temperature as they turn these laps here, because it's still too early for dries, as I mentioned, and the last thing you want to do is be pitting for an extra set of wets right now. That's just giving time away. So it looks like
at this point, would you actually change your wet tires?
no, I would. That, like I said, I think that's a last resort. You just want to manage these tires the best you can. It looks like that's what Brian's trying to do here by trying to get his car off of that dry line and finding places where there's a little bit more water to help cool those treads.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it's looking like. Here is Ryan Luna. This is his first race with us this evening. So welcome Ryan Luna into the Global Racing League MX5 League here.
Yeah.
From Canada. Hey, yeah, bud.
Another Canadian.
I love it. I'm Canadian myself, so.
As I mentioned earlier, Ryan's doing a great job. Running P10 right now. I think he's done a pretty good job just keeping his nose out of trouble. He had that spin just a minute ago and was able to keep it out of the wall. So I think it's some good heads-up driving. Right now he finds himself behind Blake Carvery. As a battle for the lead is now really heating up, coming down into the hairpin. They're neck and neck, but it looks like Brian's going to stay ahead for now. But I'm sure Trevor is starting to chomp at the bit, saying, "Let me by." Hey, I let you by. Why won't you let me by?
It sort of looks like Brian, he's feeling the pressure from Trevor. Trevor now, it looks like he's also trying to find ways to cool his tires. And I'm really curious, between these two drivers, is either of them going to take the dry tire risk?
Well, they have pit window should be opening very soon. I don't know. This is one of those very, very tricky situations where I think it may just be a wet tire race. Even though the sun's out and the track is drying, it may just be best to stay on those wet tires.
Sun's out, buns out.
Yeah. We'll have to see if the buns come out as we see Ryan looking up for a move on Blake, just not quite close there. And if you notice, people are really able to go deep in this apex for this turn 5 hairpin here. What was once covered in puddles is now starting to get now down to a trickle, I'd like to say. Still pretty big rooster tails out there.
I gotta find it interesting. Every single driver who took that dry tire is at the very bottom of our standings right now.
Yeah, unfortunate for everybody. We have Parvinder and Anaf right now, who are out there carrying the dry tire flag. I must salute those boys going around there. 2 minutes 14 and 2 minutes 24. But hey, they're keeping it on track, and that's something. That's better than the rest of the lot.
At the very front of the race, we got to check out. Oh,
and there's look at that! Look at that sportsmanship there from Mark, who accidentally turns his teammate Trevor. I think it's worth a replay for sure. But,
we have a few replays to go through now. Just a few. Here we go. Here we go into this replay. How does this one take place? Oh!
Looks like Mark just hooks him. I don't know.
Wait.
I think the space was there, and Trevor made a great move, and a bit of a shame. As we're riding on board with Blake Carver, I think this was the incident we were catching just as we transitioned to the leaders, as he just loops it there. No harm, no foul, get it back on the track, but that will be a free position for Ryan Luna, who's now up 1 from where he started.
Yeah, and so that was also the pass for for Ryan Luna on Blake Carvery. And so that is those 2 passes that just recently took place. Andres Navarre is into the pits. Wow. So
I'm curious here. Will he be taking dry tires? Does Does Andres think it's time, or is he just fueling up for the end?
Nope, no tires.
I
Look at
don't see
that.
that car leaving the ground.
Nope, he is not leaving the ground, so that leaves Chris Lim out here with Vlad Sanchez, and there is Christian Rojas. They are battling for P3. And now, if you remember, Andres Navarro was actually quite far ahead for that third position of our race. So I'm not quite sure that these guys are going to be able to get that gap closed to Andres Navarro through all of his pit stops. Here is Andres Navarro. He is out from his pit stop. He is our season championship leader currently, and let's see if he's able to show us why he's in the position he's in.
As we're looking at this battle here, I just want to point out Tom Peters has just left the pits. He is on dry tires, so we'll have to see what happens there. As we got some nice battling coming into the hairpin, Vlad doing a great job keeping Christian Rojas behind, our mega mover this race. So definitely not an easy task for Vlad.
Absolutely not. I'm going to just take a quick look at Tom Peters, who is on that slick tire. How is he doing out there? I don't think that he's enjoying his decision. What would you say?
Oh no, Tom. I knew it. This, it takes a while for this track to dry. He looks like he's faring a little bit better than the fellows before him, but it's just not quite. It's not quite dry tire time. As we see, was this another tangle between Brian and Trevor? Deep on the brakes from Trevor there, and he spins it. Oh no. And that's going to allow Brian to take the lead again. And through all this, they definitely had a gap to Andres, but they didn't have that big of a gap. I think Andres is about 8 to 10 seconds behind last time I checked. So might be opening the door for bring Andres into the battle, into the picture for this battle for the lead here.
So lap 10, let's just go through this. Lap 10 is the very last lap that they could pit for the very first time round. So that would therefore that would mean Andres Navarro, who's pit on lap 16, he is the front runner of all of the 2 pit stoppers. Mark Sherman would be the other one who has 2 pit stops. Tom Peters as well has 2 pit stops on the dry tires. Mark Sherman is on the wet tires. That is going to be very interesting to see how that works out. Here's Mark Sherman as he's coming around one of the hairpins on the very final sector of this racetrack. Tom Peters on the dry. So everyone watch that interval between Mark Sherman and Tom Peters to see if that's going to be increasing or decreasing. Maybe decreasing.
Well, I have another wrench in your plan, Michael. It looks like Tom Peters has thrown up the white flag in defeat and is coming back into the pits for wet tires. What a shame, man. He's having a good run, but turns out that dry tires, even though it has been raining for 30 minutes, still wasn't quite the call. As we see Vlad's diving into the pits now.
So I do know that some of these guys are talking to each other in voice channel throughout the race. A little bit of communication, friendly chatter, all the things. So I know that Tom Peters is in that voice channel. Is he going to be sharing with all these guys? Guys, don't go into the dry tire. It's not worth it. Don't do it. And I'm really curious to see if anyone is going to be listening to that advice or not. Here's Vlad Sanchez. He's coming to his pit stall. Is he changing tires? No, he is not changing tires. He is holding on.
Yeah, that's a good move from Vlad there. Keep all 4 tires on the ground, I say.
Absolutely. Here is Andres Navarro. He was 3rd place before the second round of pit stops. He is in 5th place after his second round. Did I say that correctly? I think so. After the first round, yeah. And So he is the leader of all 2 pit stoppers currently. Here is Vlad Sanchez. He's a little bit further back, a lot further back, let's be honest. Here's Christian Rojas going for a pass on Chris Lim into the hairpin. That outside line, is that going to be the better line? It looks like there's a lot more grip. He's able to put that power down, and look at Christian Rojas go.
Let's go. Wow, 11 positions. That's a fantastic drive from Christian there.
Look at
another
that.
commanding pass around the outside in the hairpin. As you can see, this dry line really coming in now.
Absolutely. And there is Christian. He's just representing Colombia, Team Colombia. Woo. You want to see how that pass happened? Here we go. We're going to watch it one more time.
Sets himself up, gives Chris the squeeze here, doesn't give him a lot of space, that's fair though, and takes this outside line with a lot more grip and just rockets away from him. I mean, just that's a great move. That's textbook right there. Well done by Christian.
Absolutely. And you know, with the banking, it means that inside line is at a huge disadvantage. You really want that outside line going through those corners, don't you?
Yeah, you want to keep your cornering speed up, especially when the track's wet like this, to keep you out of those puddles, and it'll keep your car moving in the right direction. Looks like Christian's starting to check out on Chris now.
Yeah, I see that. He is in that podium position, up 11 spots. So Parvinder here. Parvinder is our leader of the dry tires. Let's see how he's doing. Just take a quick look. And I also want to see... let's take a look at what is everyone's last lap time. So 2:12, so he is still significantly slower. It looks like he's going to be going into the pits. I think he's given up on the dry tires, wouldn't you say? And there is Jimmy. He is directly behind. I think that these tire swaps that he's going to have to go through, it's going to put him back quite a bit.
Yeah, I think looks like Jimmy was getting a little impatient behind him. I don't blame him. A little early on that pit limiter there for Parvinder, but yeah, I would expect that Parvinder may have learned his lesson. We'll be going back to those wet tires. As looks like the leaders are in, Michael.
It looks like the leaders of the races are in. Brian and Trevor, the 2 front runners of this race. Christian Rojas. Where in the world is Christian Rojas? Here is Christian Rojas. You can see on the track map there he is. He is coming into pits as well. So that would leave Andres Navarro. He is right here. I think that's a little bit far. There's no way. There's just absolutely no way.
Yeah, a little far back for Andres. As we see, this looks like Brian is switching to the dry tires, making that gamble.
Brian going for the dry tires. So Trevor Houston, he has said, I'm going to stick with the wets. And he's not taking the chance. There is Brian Kieran. He said, I'm going to go with the dry. Take that chance. I'm really curious to see how this is going to work out. There's Christian Rojas. I think he's going to be on the wet tires. We're going to find out in a second as soon as he comes out of the pits. Where there is Andres Navarro. There is going to be the battle between Andres Navarro, Christian Rojas, and all the others for P3. And there goes Andres right there. Would you look at that? There is Chris Lim coming out of the pits. He is actually in P6 now.
Wow, after 41 minutes of racing in the wet, nonetheless, all these cars are still so close to one another. As we see Brian maybe struggling there to keep the car pointed in the right direction, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. And another driver to go onto the dry tire. Another taker is Ryan Luna. So let's take a look at when was everyone's last pit stop. Pit lap. Here we go, pit lap. Okay, so it looks like everyone now has officially taken 2 pit stops. Anthony Farmer, maybe not him, but everyone else has taken 2 pit stops. So we're going to have a very interesting battle for the top 3 spots. There's Trevor Houston. He still has those wet tires. Brian Kieran has the dry tires, and is that going to be an advantage or disadvantage? I don't know. you know what? I think that if he can make this work, it'll actually gain him some time.
Yeah, I think he's running out of time. As we see, right behind him is Tom Peters, who just got done learning his lesson about the dry tires. So I think it'll be interesting if we could follow this battle, see if Tom's able to rocket around him. As it looks like Brian's just having, oh, and there we go. Yep. So it's still not quite time for those dry tires. And Tom says, thank you very much, even though this isn't for position. He feels a little bit validated, I'm sure, that he made the right choice going back onto those wet tires. As
Oh, and
off,
now,
oh, he's off in
oh,
the gravel, but he'll keep it out of the wall for then. As we have a battle for the final step of the podium heating up, we have our mega mover, Christian Rojas, on the back of championship leader Andres Navarro as he comes to the inside for turn 2. Oh, it's going to be tight, but they managed to keep it both pointed in the right direction, and Christian will go back a little bit to regroup. Okay, how can I get past this guy? Where is he slower? Where am I faster? What can I
if you look a little further back, you got Vlad Sanchez being challenged by Chris Lim, going into the going into the hairpin onto the very back straight. Wow, look at that! You know what? That's actually a pretty cool view. Look
Yeah,
at that.
this is a great view, and you know what? We're spoiled for the battles here. So we see a battle for P3, and right in the background we have this battle for P5. As Andres is keeping that gap as much as he needs. Chris Lim looking at the inside of Vlad here. It's gonna be.
Oh, that was tight. He almost made some fair overlap and just not quite able to make it happen. Has to back out or else take him out. And so that leaves Vlad Sanchez still ahead of Chris Lim. I'm really curious to see. So here is Brian Curran. He's on the dry tire. He was much closer to Trevor Houston way back. And now he has a 3-second gap to Andres Navarro. Oh, and it's reducing. You can see very clearly. I'm going to go back into this chopper view. You can see very clearly where the track is dry. And you can see where the track is wet. So let's see if I can get an even better view. Here, you can see how dry that track is?
Yeah, it looks dry, but looks can be deceiving. Look at all that water still coming up off the tire there. As Brian went by, he was almost 10 seconds slower than Trevor that time by. And Andres is now right on his tail, only a half second behind. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that Diet Coke car come shooting up the inside here. As we see the three of them. Oh, and this is going to be playing right into Christian's hands as he's going to back up Andres ever so slightly. It's going to give Christian a run down this back straight here. Maybe he could get a little 2-for-1 deal going.
Let's find out. You know, because Brian Kieran, with those dry tires, he is absolutely limited to where he can place his car. He needs the dry part of the track. He's going to be taking the outside line around the bowl, as you can see right here. The outside line around that bowl. There you go. All this rain's making my computer just go laggy, lag. I normally don't have the stutters. I don't know if you're seeing that as well, but it's anyway. Are you seeing that?
I'm too focused on the racing here as we see Andres looking up the inside. Maybe he's defending from Christian. Ooh, and he's going to send it down Brian's inside here. Just having a way better run through that corner as we have Christian running around the outside and taking P3 from Brian. What a heartbreak. Just another gamble on dry tires, Michael. It's not paid off. And as we see, Brian is once in a commanding lead of this race. Now finds the podium slipping away from him and time running out in his race.
Absolutely. And here's Mark Sherman coming out of the pits. I think he's going for dry tires, and he's taking that risk as well. If Brian Kieran could tell him what's good, he would definitely be saying, hey, put those wets back on. It's not time yet. Absolutely not time yet. And that's an interesting choice for Mark Sherman.
Yeah, and speaking of time, we are at 3 minutes left. I'm afraid that we only have 1 or 2 laps to go here, and it looks like Christian has gotten by Andres, but
Other
not
way
for
around,
long.
Andres has
Yeah.
gotten by Christian. Just a tiny mistake under braking on lap 24 has put Andres Navarro quite far ahead, and that means that Christian Rojas is now at risk for being attacked from Brian Curran. And if you look just even a little bit further back, you got Vlad Sanchez and Chris Lim. So it looks like Chris Lim did in fact get by. So how did that happen? Before we are too late into this, let's take a look. How did Chris Lim get by?
Chris Lim just working that momentum on the outside of the corner there, and able to just use that extra top end he gets to get right by Vlad there. A pretty easy move for him. You know, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, sometimes it just takes a little bit of patience, and that patience really paid off for Chris there as he's able to get around Vlad. Going back to this
Absolutely.
battle between Andres and Christian. Christian is already caught back up. It seems like Christian is just biding his time at this point. Looks like as we come to the line here, it should be 2 to go in the race.
2 to
Looking for
go?
confirmation on that yeah.
Yep,
They
2 to
did
go.
not take the white flag. Okay, so it will be 2 to go.
Yeah, I don't see a white. Oh no, there's a white flag waving. There it is. There is the white flag. So this will be the very final lap, folks, right here. The very final lap. You can see the white flag if I can get the right view. You'll be able to see the white flag waving. I'm not gonna be able to get it. Anyways, you're just gonna have to trust me.
Yeah, we'll have to. You know, we took some pages out of IMSA's book when it came to white flags here, but nonetheless, we still have some great racing left as we have this tight battle for P2 between Christian Rojas and Andres Navarro. Christian's going to try to get a run down this back straight, and Andres says, "No, you don't." Doing a little bit of weaving, which is fine. You know, you're allowed 1 defensive move, but you can still do a little bit of weaving on the front straight as long as you're not impeding the guy behind you. Christian is just not quite close enough to really make a dive there, so we'll have to see. Is there any other good passing opportunities for him by the end of this lap?
And here is Brian Curran. He is holding on with those slick tires. It looks like the slick tires are really starting to come to life. Just a little bit too late. Too little too late, wouldn't you say? And at the very front, there is Trevor Houston coming across that start-finish line for the very final time, taking the checkered flag. Congratulations, Trevor Houston. Would you look at that, taking the win.
Wow,
Andres
well
Navarro.
done to Trevor. And here we go, Andres Navarro and Christian Rojas coming through the final set of turns. Can Christian do anything here? It doesn't look like it. And they'll come out of the final turn on the run to the checkered flag, and it will be Andres. As we have some bumping and grinding for P4 here, but Brian Curran will hang on with Chris Lim and Vlad Sanchez in tow. Wow, what fantastic racing.
Oh, and Vlad Sanchez 600ths behind Chris Lim. What a race after 50 minutes to come to such close of a gap. Here is Mark Sherman. You know what?
In the leader of the AM, we have Mark Sherman, who's going to come across the line to win in the AM class. So well done to him.
On dry tires.
On dry tires, nonetheless. Kept his wits about him. That's a great drive from Mark.
Absolutely. And second place in the amateur division is none other than Anthony Farmer, and he has stuck it out in the wet tires. And that's real interesting. Mark Sherman made the switch to the dry. Anthony Farmer did not, and here we are with Mark Sherman slightly ahead.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, those dry tires starting to pay dividends, but only on the final lap, which is that's can't think of anything more painful when it comes to changeable conditions and your dry tire switched on too little, too late.
Absolutely. There is Blake Carvery. He is in 7th position, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yep,
and he's going to be coming.
Blake.
Yeah, on the wet tires. There
And
we go.
Ryan Luna crosses the line to finish the amateur podium. Well done to Ryan, his first race with GRL. Maybe didn't go exactly to plan for Ryan, but still good to see him cross the finish line and take that P3 in amateur. And man, Michael, what a race! This one had it all: lead changes, battles, changeable conditions, tire strategy. Uh, it really did have it all for just an action pack race. And again, well done to Trevor, a commanding victory by 24.3 seconds over championship leader Andres Navarro. Uh, any thoughts about the race?
You know what? That was a lot to take in. Not just because of the rain, but just all of the little micro battles that were happening from start to finish. Um, the little micro battles of what kind of tires do you take? You can see actually now in the view that track is dry. So you're battling with yourself, you're battling with the other cars, you're battling with like your race engineer essentially of yourself. Of when do you go into the pits, when do you not go into the pits, and all the little things. So it was a lot to take in, I'm sure, for all these drivers. It's a perfect example, of you're not just out there trying to set the fastest lap and be a race driver. You really have to have a mind, wits about you. And I think this kind of race, it really shows that. When
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering if we could get maybe we get one of our drivers in the booth here with us, and maybe they could give us their thoughts.
let me see, and I'm gonna just pull up the race results. There you go. You can read it off while I go find a driver for us.
All right, so here we go. Round 11 of the MX5 Cup Challenge is done at Okayama, with Trevor Houston taking the win here. 24 seconds over Andres Navarro, who just beat out Christian Rojas by 4/10 of a second on that final lap. What a battle between those two. In P4, we have Brian Curran, who unfortunately just took the gamble on those dry tires and it didn't pay off. Rounding out our top five will be Chris Lim, who came in a very tight pack, 4, 5, and 6, all within 4/10 of a second of each other, with Vlad Sanchez coming at the back of that pack. Well done to Vlad. Great racing from him, whole race.
So let me see.
P7,
I
we
think I
have.
might have someone I can pull over right about now. So let's bring them over. Let's see if this will work. I'm gonna bring Parvinder and Chris Lim both at the same time.
All right.
Hello, Chris and Parvinder. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Hi, Parvinder. How's it going?
Hello, I'm okay. I'm okay. Not too bad.
So we're just doing here the broadcast. I got Dan McFarlane here with me. Um, and yeah, I just thought I'd drag you over, do a quick interview if that's okay.
Sure, I'm not ready, but yeah, why not? Yeah, it's
Y-
okay.
You know what? Full send. Are you ever ready?
Yeah, I guess
That's true.
to start off, Parvinder, were you ready for that rain today? How was it out there? Well, how did you find the conditions?
Frankly, it's my first ever wet race, and I made the mistake of not switching the black box to wet tires when I came in to the pit the first time, and took dry, and I was like spinning, I think at least 10 times. So yeah, I was just doing donuts on the track.
Yeah, we definitely saw there was a group of you after that first pit stop cycle. Michael and I really thought, oh, maybe these guys have some strategy going on. They're going for dry tires. There was Michael, would you say there's a good 5 or 6 guys who were all on dry tires, and everybody was spinning out. So
Yeah.
just goes to show you, it can be deceptive out there, especially when the iRacing default will just give you will give you dry tires.
The interesting thing is, you could see the track was starting to dry up, especially on the backstretch. So the question was, leave your dry on or pit again and take wet. So I'm not experienced enough to make those decisions. So I tried to stay out, and I think that was a wrong call.
There's a few people who did take the dry tires, quite a few actually. We're not sure now that you bring that information up, we're not sure if it was by mistake or on purpose. Potentially, let's say it was by mistake. Anyways, it's as you say, do you stick it out or do you just try to go back into the pits for the wets because it's just not working out? And how much time do you lose doing that? Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun to watch all of you guys out there. I'll be honest, most of the guys on the dry tires were at the very bottom of the grid. Brian Curran took the risk of going for the dry tires and ended up losing a lot of positions. So, yeah, I think that the experience you had on the dries is very much what everyone was having.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a learning journey anyway. So yeah, thanks for having me for the race, guys.
And one other quick question is, what time is it where you are right now?
It's a comfortable 10 a.m. in the morning, but I think you guys start in my time zone at 7:30 a.m. for the practice. But yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I just want to say, hey, welcome to the league and thank you for participating. And hopefully, you don't need coffee after the race.
Oh, I have coffee before the race. That's the first priority.
He has his
Thanks for
priorities
having
in
us,
order.
guys. Yeah.
Okay, I'll drag you back to the other voice channel and have a good day.
Take care, you too.
I think that we're gonna leave the interviews with that just for because I do want to hear some of your thoughts for the remaining positions in the final results here. And you were at Blake Carvery.
Oh yes, I was at Blake Carvery. Despite that first lap spin, Blake still manages to bring it home on the lead lap, albeit a minute and 54 back. But good drive from him, not to lose any, not to bleed any extra time there. Keep it on track. Tom Peters, P8. Man, unfortunately for Tom, I don't know if it was a mistake to taking the dry tires or just a gamble that didn't pay off. But unfortunately for Tom, he really did learn his lesson. Didn't even make it a full lap on those dry tires. He ends the race in eighth, one lap down. Behind Tom, though, we have our winner of the AM class. We have Mark Sherman coming in one lap behind the leader. And then we have Anthony Farmer, P10, but P2 in class. Ryan Luna coming in on his debut, P3 in AM, 11th overall. Parvinder, who we just spoke to, P12. Jimmy Mooney, another early big mover. Looks like he must have ran into some issues, P13. Anaf Shariar,
Those
Franco
dry
Aguirre,
tires, yeah.
Jonathan Rodriguez will round off our field. Looks like all those guys had problems.
I think
What a
all
shame for
those,
them.
yeah, all those guys I think were on the dry tires. I know Franco went onto the dry tire potentially by mistake, as we know that
Yeah.
can happen. And yeah,
Yeah, he was having a good run in the beginning too. He was definitely keeping himself in contention for a podium, but we'll have to. I'm curious what happened with Franco there. But good news is, you could maybe use this as the drop week and move on to the next, right?
yeah. And with that said, I think that will end our broadcast for the evening. Any final thoughts?
Um, final thoughts. Really, this was like I mentioned earlier. This race had it all. It was super exciting to broadcast. Well done to all of our drivers. This is more difficult than any official race that'll ever happen. So
Makes you wish you were in it.
it makes me wish I were in it, but unfortunately, I don't think I would be doing quite well if I were out there with an Xbox controller. But yeah, another exciting round, another different winner. So I'm excited for next week. We'll see what's in store.
Yeah, so you'll be joining me next week. Okay, perfect. Awesome. That's good to know. Thanks. And yeah, I guess I don't have any final thoughts, but other than that, I'll see you guys all next week. I hope you enjoy the show. I definitely did. And you know what? With that, I know you will. So if you do, just send some love in the Discord, in the YouTube comments, anything. And I will see you guys all next week.
Yeah. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Control, will you help me? What you gonna do when I lost control? We are lost, yeah, we lost control. Yeah, we lost control. Love about a liquor boy, will you hit me up? I lost control, will you help me? Love about a liquor boy, will you hit me up? I lost control.